Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. When you set a club or you set an organization or a country and you make certain kind of policies, rules, laws, regulations, and you make these policies, you put them in place because they are necessary in order for a good functioning of the society, group, organization. And then after you open it, you start it, you tweak it, you add, and you change them, you improve them, because you find out while you are at it, hey, this needs to be changed, it doesn't really work as efficient or as fair as we thought. And you always change it, improve it, make it better. But the reason why you do all these things is because that's a good functionality. You thought about those policies. They are necessary to reach a certain kind of goal, to function. We have NATO. NATO, it has its policies, regulations, rules, however you want to protocol, whatever term you want to give it. For being a member of NATO, for conducting yourself, for voting for certain kind of decisions, there are rules. And the rules were made because they found out this is the reason. We can't do this because of that. So all the rules that were written down in the NATO, because I'm going to talk about NATO in Ukraine right now, were made because they were thought of. We're going to have to do it like this because of this, like this, like this. It was not just, all right, these are the rules. I don't know, but we just make them. Now, Ukraine wants to be a NATO member. In order to be a NATO member, you have to follow rules. To be admitted, that's a process. And the process has rules and regulations. And those, as I said, were thought. Why should be like this and not like that? There are reasons given. One of the reasons, or one of the requirements, one of the most important requirements for a country who would like, or that would like to, or which would like to become a member of NATO, is to make sure that it doesn't have any countries, or it doesn't have any problems with any country. It's not at war. It doesn't have territorial demands of the neighbors, like, oh, I want your territory, oh no, I want your territory, my territory, I don't like you, and I'm going to be a member. No, you have to have treaties before you go and you apply to be a member. And say, hey, Ukraine has a border with Belarus, has a border with Romania, has a border with Russia, has a border with Moldova, has a border with Poland, Slovakia, and Hungary. Before it gets to NATO to be admitted, when it applies, it has to have treaties signed with all these countries that it has no territories and no beef, no problems, nothing with them. Well, it's an impossibility. Belarus and Russia are considered enemies, right? They will not be admitted into NATO because of those policies, rules, regulations. They will not be admitted into NATO. That's in technicality, Technically, it can't. Why? Because of the Article 5 in NATO. One country is attacked, everyone else has to intervene and help that country. That is, if Ukraine gets admitted like this without any treaties signed with Belarus and Russia, let's say, and gets admitted while at war, that's another thing you can't. You can't be a member of NATO if you are at war, in a war conflagration with someone. You can't. Now, Ukraine and all these guys talk. Why? Because once you do this, everybody has to intervene legally, and that will be like, clearly we want to fight that guy, so let's do it. So there are policies. These guys have been telling us for, a year and 3 months that Ukraine will be a NATO country. And they were talking about being a member and all that. Zelensky is talking about the Westerns, but they can't. For the reasons, this is one of the reasons why Ukraine cannot, by definition, go over there. Like, for instance, you can't just go and knock at the White House and get over there, get in, and meet whomever you want to meet. You can't. There's a procedure. You have to follow it. You don't follow it, you don't enter. The same here. They're going to pat you down. You go through all these detectors and all that. Now, we've been heard that Zelensky and Ukraine will be invited at Vilnius or wherever is going to NATO summit, and it's going to be invited to join, and you're going to do this and you that. Now, Ukraine is strategically important. Don't ignore that. It's very strategically important to NATO. to be part of NATO, or at least a partner over there. Now, you are important, but you have to give something back. You just say, okay, I have my territory here, you got Russia here, you need me. You can't be changed. Nevertheless, I think right now is a little blackmail that occurs coming from none other than Zelensky. He wants to be, all of a sudden, or continue to be, the greatest person on this planet, which he's not, by definition and by actions. Right? Even these guys are trying to build him statues and all that. So he says that, well, we will not be part of NATO. These guys are telling him, you can't be. Maybe after the war ends, that is, we win, these guys will sign those things. We can't be like that. And now Zelensky gets upset and says, well, there's no need for us to participate in Vilnius, to come and discuss the NATO. So, what? I mean, imagine these guys doing everything to, against Russia in Ukraine, support you. Without them, you're zero, you're dead. You're dead. And you know what? What's the reason for me to show up at Vilnius? I wouldn't even talk to this guy. But hey, that's me. I would tell him. Probably that's how it works, that we don't hear. He's told, and he comes out and he tells us that he made these decisions. I don't think so. So what's happened? This is from yesterday, June 2nd. Zelensky says NATO membership impossible before end of Russian war. So yesterday he seemed to get it that, hey, it's impossible. We can't do it. But then today, if he comes and says, if we are not acknowledged and given signal at NATO summit in Vilnius, there is no point for Ukraine to be there. You do what we tell you to do. Just go back, take your little toys and stay over there in the toy room. And we're going to call you when food is ready. Just go. Oh my God, it's just irritating. So here, he says yesterday, well, yeah, we can't, it's impossible. Because these guys are telling him, hey, it's impossible. After everything is clear. The guy, no. Here, if we are not acknowledged, what do you mean acknowledged? Like red carpet be rolled in front of you, you put on a pedestal over there and everybody should bow? Or what do you mean acknowledged? And give a signal. You've been given thousands of signals ahead of time. At NATO summit in Vilnius, there is no point for us. This is like a blackmail. You give me what I want even though I don't qualify for it, otherwise I don't show up. Oh, F you, don't show up. It's unbelievable. It's like you have to beg them. No, we can change you. Zelensky, if you become too irritating, you're gonna just leave by yourself. They're not gonna. You're gonna leave by yourself. That's what's gonna happen if you are too mouthy. I guarantee you that, because he's over there just because of these guys. Don't make any other arguments here. Ukraine's president Zelensky has said that he sees no point in attending the NATO summit in Vilnius if Ukraine does not receive specific, that means the ones I want, signals on when it can join the alliance. Now you tell me he was told, man. What do you mean when? They told you after the war is over. Read all the articles. And only if we win, which we will win. Only then, because when you lose, that means the Russians are controlling it. And you're going to be demilitarized. You're not going to be in NATO. Things like this is going to happen if you lose. That's how Russians envision your loss. When you win, then yes, that's the specific signal I gave it to you. Now, please come and attend Vilnius summit, please. Now, Zelensky said that he understood that Ukraine would be unable to join NATO while the war was ongoing. Okay, so that's it. But it was crucial for Kiev to receive the message that Ukraine would be able to join the alliance after the war if you qualify. You can't be given something like Obama, the former US president. You can't be given a Nobel Prize without doing shit. You can't be given a diploma of an engineer before attending college, like Obama got. Obama was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize before he even started anything. That's what he wants. We don't know what happens. I can't promise you anything what's going to happen in 2 years, because in 2 years you might turn, I don't know, tyrannical. Maybe in 2 years you're going to be a fascist country. I don't know. And then you're going to come back and say, hey, you said that I'm going to be NATO, but you don't qualify. Things change, remember? Things changed. And it's another thing that is very ridiculous is that Zelensky is in no point to dictate anything to anybody outside of his little country. And not even there, because if Zelensky once is going to take Zelensky and put him in a cannon and send him to Russia. If you remember, the Russians did that with a Polish guy who got in control of their country at one point for a very short period of time. They sent him towards Poland, put him in a cannon and blow him towards Poland. I think it was in the, I can't remember, 18th century or something like this. Through some little things, a guy that was not supposed to got in a high position in Russian Empire, and then after they got him, he got over there with all kind of hanky-panky, because that's the way they were in those times. The Russians got him, and I don't remember if they put him alive in the cannon or they cut him to pieces, and then the pieces were blown in Poland's direction. Bad dudes, bad dudes. Well, those were the times. No, so I don't know if that's the Ukrainians are going to do, or the Americans are going to do with Zelensky. Zelensky becomes too mouthy, or Zaluzny will do to him. Because after all, Zaluzny has the weapons. This guy has nothing. He's got the guys around him to protect those guys from killing him or something. Is not, or from Zelensky doing some hanky-panky. Those are not his people. The people that you see masked with weapons around or like that, Zelensky, that surround Zelensky, those are not Zelensky's people. He doesn't pay them. He doesn't even know them. They are some security services paid by the state or whomever. If those guys receive an order, not from Zelensky, from their superior, they're going to follow it. Who's that one? Who's the superior? Who's that one? Like you receive an investigation. All right, this is an investigation. Pop, pop, pop. You have to do this. You're not going to check, oh my God, let me see. Is this investigation fair? No, you do what you're told. That's what you do. And you go and try to find out. Per policy. So the same with those guys around. Like the Secret Services here in the White House. Who do you think those guys are? Biden's guys? The president's guys? Those guys listen to someone telling them something. Do you think they're going to say, wait, are you sure we have to... Do you think he's an Russian asset? No, I don't think, sir. You didn't convince me. Let me verify first before I do what you tell me to do. It's not a word like that. Okay, he's an asset. We have to contain him. All right, let's go. Bam, bam, bam. That's what they would do. What do you think they would do? Oh, it's more complicated than that. It seems more complicated, but anyway, they're books, and it's a lot of information about how things work, actually. It's nothing special than the way it used to. Remember how it used to? The emperors, the kings used to have mercenaries around them, and usually the mercenaries were not from the country that he was ruling, and the mercenaries are paid. I pay you, I pay you, I pay you. But in charge of the mercenary is someone else. And if someone else pays that someone else to pay your mercenaries more than you do, what do you think happens to you? The same principle, a little bit supposedly more sophisticated nowadays because we're more civilized. Apparently, and the keyword is in appearance, just appears to be that way. So anyway, my friends, here you have it. Zelensky threatens that, we don't have to show up until you really tell us that we are the best and we're going to be part of NATO. In the meantime, give me everything I want. Otherwise, I will stop fighting the Russians for you. Therefore, you're going to lose. So what are you going to do? No! Out. Next weasel. And he knows it, but he plays hard right now. We'll find out. He plays with fire. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.